This is Victoria Miller, Math 105, Section 35. This is the first pocket with my POIAS problem, some notes, and a couple of things that I had in here from my midterm. This is my table of concepts. This is the first part of it. This is 1 through 31. This is 32 through 60. And then I had to add an additional page onto that. It is 61 through 65. The last thing being the written reflection. Okay, so here is number 32. It's called number properties. These are the cumulative property, associative property, identity property, and distributive property. These are all filled out and have notes attached to all of them. The back page of that is the gems and examples here. Here's the order of operations. These have been opened, cut, and have them here. I just wrote an example on the very front. This is page 33. The back of page 33 has the home integer operations form on there. These both have been corrected and filled out. What was these last two have been corrected. Intros to integers. Here is the temperature, loss, gain, the losing and the loss of yards. So the weight loss, accounting, temperature, and sports. I just took a couple of notes here with numbers and how they affect everything there. Adding integers is on the back page. There's my notes. Subtracting integers. There is my notes. Adding and subtracting integers. More notes. Multiplying and dividing integers. Multiplying and dividing integers. More notes. Multiplication and division. Patterning. And divisible rules with the foldables. These are the ones that we actually did in class and outside of class. Those are all of those. Freyer model for the factor and multiples. They have the factor here, multiple here, definition, example, non-examples, etc. This is the factors, multiple, primes, and composition. Sorry about that. Here is the rationale numbers. It explains what that is here. Prime versus composite. What 1 doesn't count as a prime or a composite, and 0 doesn't count as a prime or a composite. Here is the number sheet that we did in class, and we talked about how many different colors they all had overlapping, and so all of these numbers, what did they have in common? That was actually really interesting to me. I learned a lot that day. Fraction representation. Here's my number line, my circle, and my fraction bars with the definitions. I took notes because I didn't get this in class, actually, so I took notes and then I taped this above it. Here's my fraction cut and copy activity that we did. Why fractions are so difficult. Exploring the units, we did this. Equivalent fractions, the pizza in class scenario, equivalent fractions. This is the homework assignment that we did. Here is that. What's the deal with unit fractions? My video notes. Review an activity. This is the number line with decimals and fractions. Here are the fractions on a number line that we did. This is the pocket that you had us make. Here are my my fractions bars. This is the shapes that we had to cut out. And then these are the foldable activities that we did to show how to do that. I kept that as well because of how interesting that was. Here are the converting mixed numbers to improper fractions. Sorry, it's a big book. Fractions. Here are they. I did have to fix some. I had to fix this bottom one right here. Comparing fractions, adding and subtracting fractions, subtraction, more addition fractions, adding and subtracting fractions. Here is the form that we did. I think we actually did this in class, if I remember correctly. Adding and subtracting fractions, number strips. We did this. And then this is the one we did where we actually like made them to have things in common, adding in the addition. There's that. This is the Paris Hilton gas problem. Fraction and multiplication warm-up that we did. Here is the multiplication of fraction paper folding. This is how you showed us how to do this. Multiplying fractions by a whole number. There are my notes. And then multiplying fractions by a model by fraction with an algorithm. There is that. These are my extra notes that I took. See if I can get it. There we go. Here is a piece of paper that I took notes on. Fraction application processes. Fraction division. The Cuisenaire rods. Sorry, we did that assignment. Here is the coffee problem on page 55. Here is the back of page 55. This page is not labeled. That is my mistake. What is a decimal? This is the forms. These are notes that I took in class. And then this is the assignment that we did in class. And so I taped and stapled the page above that. Intro to decimal, place values, expanded form, etc., converting decimals into fractions. It went blurry. Reading and writing decimals on page 57. Rounding decimal handout. Here is the labeling, the decimals from least to greatest. Just the notes that we took on that. Percentages and percentages equivalent fractions. Some vocabulary for ratios. Here's the pet paint project with the double number line, or the tape, not the double number line. This is the tape diagram. Here is the assignment for the tape diagram that we did. Here is the tree problem that we did with the additive reasoning and the multiplicative problems. Multiplicative. There you go. Additive and multiplicative reasoning. This page is blank. Here is page 62, the additive and multiplicative reasoning. This page is blank. Here is the proportional relationship notes that we have. Ratios and ratio rates. Proportion table that we did. Here are my notes. Here is the form. My notes went a little bit too far, but that is what it was. Using a double line. Here is the double line that we did in class. Here is the second example. And then the last page is my reflection. I had to write it because I'm at a hospital right now waiting for my husband to get out of surgery. So I did not have my printer. So I wrote it, but I will print this out and staple it to this. And then this is it. So this is page 65. Thank you so much. Again, this is Victoria Miller.